Hey everyone, I'm Anthony with Village Coach, and today I'm going to show you how to perform a pre-trip inspection using your Fleetio app. First thing we do is we're going to get into the coach and do a soft start of your engine, and we'll begin there. Now that we're in the coach, I'm going to go ahead and do a soft start to my engine, let all my gauges settle, and begin on the engine check. Now we'll go back to the engine. Now to get to the back of your engine, you're going to have to open this door here. Make sure you lock it into place with these arms here so that it doesn't swing up on you with high winds. And then you also have your door jar here. And make sure this locks into place as well so it doesn't fall back on you. Belts on, tight, and look good. So we're going to check the belts, make sure there's no more than 3/4 inch play. Make sure they're not frayed, make sure they're not cracked, and make sure they're not worn dangerously thin. Once we've done that, then we'll go ahead and pass that everything looks good. Then we'll check engine oil, which is located here. When you check the engine oil, you want to make sure you pull out the dipstick, clean it off, put it back in, and pull it out again to check your accurate reading of your dipstick. Make sure it's not below the minimum mark. Once you've done that, you make sure it's good, then you go ahead and pass. Engine is good, engine oil good. Then you check coolant level, make sure it's full, which is located here, and then you have a reservoir here. There are some models that also have a reservoir down here in the bottom left, but this one's located up here in your top left. You just want to make sure that it's in the sight glass, and if you do refill it, try not to replenish it to where it's above the sight glass. Now we're moving on to power steering fluid, which is located right here, just behind the vacuum pipe. You can check it here. You want to make sure that it's above the minimum mark. It's a clear canister located here. Leaks under coach. You want to make sure that as you look under your coach, there is no leaks that can mean engine issues, whether it's coolant, oil, or transmission fluid. Now when it comes to wiring hoses and tailpipe exhaust system, all look good to be safe and operational. Well, your exhaust system is here, making sure that there's no black areas of soot, no cracks, nothing loose or hanging, and making sure that everything's intact. Once you've done that, then you can also follow the wiring harnesses, make sure everything's good with the wiring harnesses. You can also check your coolant hoses and clamps, make sure there's no leaks there, and then just do an overall general look of your engine. Make sure everything looks good, and make sure nothing is damaged that you should be reporting if there was. Once you've seen that everything is good there, then you can go out and pass the last item. Now that we've completed the pre-start engine check, we're moving on to from the driver's seat section of the Fleetio inspection. First, I'm going to check my seatbelt and make sure that it works properly, while at the same time scanning for any frays, rips, or tears, and making sure that it's safe for me to operate, and which it is. Once I've done that, I'll go ahead and pass it, saying everything looks good. Now when it comes to horns and windshield wipers, I'm going to check my horn, which is your city horn here and my air horn here. I see that both of those work. They have a click switch here where you can figure out which one is which. Once everything is seen works good, and I'm going to check my windshield wipers. And I'll use the window washer fluid, and both systems work correctly. So now that I've checked my horn, windshield wipers work properly, I'm going to go ahead and pass that. Now battery voltage is located in the digital dash, so you're going to have to use your steering wheel gauges over here to your left. You'll press upwards on the top one twice, and then you'll press up 3 times on the bottom one. And then there's your voltage, 24.9 on the digital dash. Now that we checked the battery voltage, I'm just going to check all my headlights, make sure they work. Then I'll check my fog lights, 4-way flashers, see if they work, my blinkers, and everything works the way that they should. And then I'll pass that as well. And then I'll turn on my engine to make sure that my steering is smooth. Now I turn on my engine. I'm going to make sure my steering wheel operates properly and there's no more than 1/4 inch play. I'll pass that. I'll check my heat and my AC that's located right here. Over here on the digital dash, you'll see that you have a heater coil indicating heat. And then if I turn the temperature all the way down, it should give me a snowflake indicating AC works properly. And then you should lose your heater coil after a while. And then you got defrosters, which are here. And I know that works as well. Now we're going to perform the service parking brake test, which is a 3-part test for DOT. First, I'm going to do a soft start to my engine. I'll let the gauges settle, give it about a good 10-15 seconds. Once my gauges settle, then I'll begin my air brake test. Now I'm going to begin my air brake test. I'm going to hold firmly on my brake pedal and at the same time release my parking brake. And during this time, I'm also making sure that I don't lose more than 3 psi within 60 seconds located on my gauges here, my air tanks, my front and my rear. While at the same time making sure I don't hear any audible air leaks around my coach or near my driver's area. If I did, then I want to report it because that could put me out of service. Now that I've waited 60 seconds, I have not heard any audible air leaks and my gauges have not dropped. So now I'll begin fanning down my air tanks. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to make sure that I get my buzzer indicating air loss and my red warning light indicating air loss. And my air brake should pop about 60 psi. So during that time, I got my red light indicating air loss and my air brake did pop. The only thing missing is my warning light or warning buzzer indicating air loss. That's because the engine needs to be running to get your air loss indicator. Now I'm going to make sure the bus kneels properly. I'll pull this to front and then go ahead and drop the front. I can visually see right now that the front is kneeling. Once I've been able to do that, I'll stop, then I'll raise it. And then I'll put it back, and now that I can tell that my kneel works properly, I'll go ahead and pass that as well. Next, I'm going to check mirrors operate properly and are adjusted properly. So over here, I got 2 toggle switches, and on each toggle switch, there is a little white dot indicating either convex mirror or flat mirror. So it could either be right side, left side, or as some have, left side, right side. And then I'll go ahead and switch it and see that my convex mirror moves, my flat mirror moves. And then I'll check my right side. A little tip with the driver's seat and the steering wheel: to adjust the steering wheel, there's a little toggle switch down here to my left. If you put your foot on it, hold it in, and you can adjust your steering wheel telescopically and up and down, and then just let go wherever you want it at. Now for the interior inspection, we're going to be locating the 3 fire extinguishers. One which is located right here by the passenger seat. The second fire extinguisher is located in the front lounge under the sink. And the third fire extinguisher will be located under the first bay on the door side of the coach. How to operate your emergency exit, which is located above me here in the walkway. First, you want to push up to release the door hinges. Then you want to turn your lever to the exit. Then you push up on that, and then your door will open up, and then you just want to make sure it stays open that way. Then to bring it down to lock it, you want to make sure you bring it back down. Then you got to get these teeth to lock up together. And once it does, you'll hear that lock. Turn it back to locked, pull down, and that's how you can operate the emergency exit. Now we're going to locate and make sure that we pass the first aid kit. First aid kit here, you can notice that it has a emergency first aid kit sticker, and the box is located here. After you've located it, then you can pass it as well. Now we're moving on to locating the bus binder, which is located here. When you pull it out, after locating it, you want to make sure that it's actually the bus you're connected to. Secondly, you want to open it and make sure that you locate your fuel card for off-site fueling and your fuel key for on-site fueling. And then in there you should have all of your company information. Now we're in the entrance section, and here I'm going to make sure that my steps are clear, the door operates properly, and the lights are working. The door opens and closes properly, the lights are working, and the steps are clear. And I'll go ahead and pass that. Now we're going to begin the curbside inspection, starting with the steer tire. I'm going to check that my tread is not damaged in any way. There's no wear, significant wear to the tread. I'll make sure that my outer wall is not damaged. Make sure I locate my air valve stem. Make sure that that's not damaged and it's intact, that I don't hear any audible air leaks from the airbags located around this wheel well. Once I see that everything is good there, I'll move on to passing that, and then I'll begin checking my marker, turn, docking, hazard, clearance lights, and that they're all operational. Right now I'm just going to check to make sure they're there, that they're not damaged, and make sure that they're not missing and that they're the proper color, locating them alongside the coach all the way down to the back. Bays are empty, clean, and have located the emergency triangles. During this time, when I open up each bay, I'm also going to make sure that I don't have any damage to my frame, that my floor bed's not damaged, and then everything's operational and safe. I'll begin by opening it here, making sure it latches into place, making sure the latch here locks into place for safety, and then I've located my triangles here. At the same time, I've also made sure that my floor bed is not damaged and my frame is not damaged. Next, we're moving on to fuel, and DEF caps are on, tight, and don't appear to have any leaks. So I'll open up the fuel door. I have a DEF cap here, but it's not operational. The other one's on the other side. Fuel cap is tight. I've noticed I make sure that there's no leaks underneath the coach as well. Next, we're going to pass the drive and tag tires, making sure that they're not damaged, making sure that they're aired up, making sure that my tread is not unevenly worn or dangerously worn thin, and no less than 230 seconds. Also making sure my air valve stems are located and they're not damaged. Then I'll move on and making sure that there's also nothing in between my duals. My mud flap is good, and then also checking to make sure that my tag is in good shape and that it's not damaged, both tread and on the outer wall, and my air valve stems as well. Next, we're going to locate our extra oil, water, and supplies, which would be located on the driver's side of the coach. And this is where you'll locate your extra coolant, oil, also your bus supplies, which could have belts, headlamps, blinkers, hose clamps, hoses, extra fuses, etc. The list goes on, along with the toolbox. And then also over here you'll have your tire cables as well, or snow cables for the snow. Last on the curbside inspection is going to be an area if there's previous damage. It's going to want you to report any previous damage. If you did find any, you want to make sure that you honor that by tapping on it and following the prompts to report that damage. Next, we're moving on to the rear of the coach of the inspection. Here, I'm going to make sure that all my lights are intact and that they're not damaged, that they're a proper color, and making sure that my lights here, my reverse lights and my brake lights and hazard or blinker lights, if you will, are also intact and not damaged. Last on the rear of coach inspection is going to be if there's any previous damage to the rear, you want to report it there. So if you find any damage located on the rear, go ahead and tap that and make sure that you follow the prompts. Now we're on the driver's side of the inspection, and I'm going to be looking at all the lights, making sure they're not damaged, making sure they're intact, making sure they're operational. Next, on the driver's side, I'm going to check my tags the same way I did on my curbside. I'm going to make sure that they're not damaged. Again, check my tread, making sure that's not damaged in any way as well. My outer wall, my wheel, and my air valve stem. And then in between my duals, my mud flap, make sure that's intact. And again, showing the same concern for my tag that I did my drive tire. Next on the driver's side is locating my windshield wiper fluid, which is located here underneath the driver's seat. Now on the driver's side, remember at the very end of your inspection, it's going to show if there was any previous damage to the driver's side, like every other side that we've covered so far. If there is, please report that in the previous damage. Now we're on the front side of the inspection, and during this time you want to make sure that you check all your clearance lights. Make sure you check all your headlights, your high beams, your blinkers, and your fog lights. Now on the front inspection of the coach, you're going to have an option to report previous damage. If you've located it, please report it inside that section. Now for doing your full exterior light check, I've waited till the end of this to show you guys how to do that correctly. Over here located to my left is your blinker. If you press up on that 3 times, 1, 2, 3, then it'll allow all of your lights to go off at the same time, and then at that moment you can do a full complete light check. And we'll go now. And now that we've completed the exterior light check and there was no issues, we can click up on the blinker, and that disengages the all light test. Almost finished with the FLEDIO inspection. At the very bottom you'll notice that it's an option for any other concerns. If there are any other concerns and you're not sure where to put them, go ahead and place them there. Also, there'll be another option to suggest that maybe you have any issues that could negatively impact the customer experience. Again, if you found anything with that concern, you could submit it there. Also, the other option that you have while submitting your FLEDIO inspection is the option to use a different format, which if you tapped on any part of the list format, it'll take you to a section by option by option, which you'll see here.